Okay, so first I'll be starting with the mayor. Alfredo, what are your qualifications to become mayor?
So for me, I had held a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives representing the Illinois 5th Congressional District from 2003 to 2009. And after the 2008 presidential election, President Obama had appointed me to serve as White House Chief of Staff, and this helped me out in becoming a mayor.
That must have been an honor being appointed by Barack Obama. How long do you serve?
So Chicago does not limit the term of service for its mayor, and the mayor is able to serve as long as they are able to win re-elections.
Do you think that you'll be able to win again after your term ends?
It all depends on whatever other candidates there are and their beliefs and ideas.
And how does someone become mayor?
So the mayor is elected by popular vote every 4 years on the last Tuesday in February. A runoff election is in the event that no candidate garners more than 50% of the vote is held on the first Tuesday in April.
And what is the mayor's role in creating policy?
So Chicago has a weak mayor system in which most of the power is vested in the city council. In practice, however, the mayor of Chicago has long been one of the most powerful municipal chief executives in the nation. The mayor submits proposals and recommendations to the city council of his own accord and on behalf of the city departments. And the mayor isn't allowed to vote on issues except in certain instances, most notably where the vote taken on the matter before the body results in a tie.
Okay, now that we're in the subject of policies, what do you think about the gun policies in Chicago?
I think we have some pretty strong gun policies, but I don't think they're working, as you see with all the gun violence that we have in the city.
What do you think needs to change in order to see less gun violence?
We need to tackle the problem head on where these people are getting their guns and so forth.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Alfredo.
You're welcome.
Now on to City Council. So, how long do City Council members serve?
Council members typically serve a 4-year term. The term of office are staggered with two council members and mayor seat.
And what are their roles in creating policies?
The city council's main role is creating policies that we are, and we are the ones who push for amendments to be implemented and start, at least when focused on the city areas.
So, you can make any that's outside of the city?
Um, we're trying to, we have to focus on our city mostly because that is what, like, that's our job. We have to focus on what makes the city better and what will push our city to flourish in the future. So outside of city district areas, we can't really help with problems. Problems being like potholes and like making new parks for the area. We can't make parks outside of the city district, if that makes any sense.
Okay. And what specific powers does the City Council member have?
We as city council members, not individual members, must supervise administrative officers, formulate policies, and exercise city powers.
What difficulties do you guys face when trying to come up with a decision?
Our main issues are coming up coming to a agreement on certain policies and what is the most important thing to handle at the moment.
Okay, and what are the requirements to become a City Council member?
Well, although qualifications to become a city council member vary with cities, most cities require you to be at least 18 and reside in the city that you are running for at least some period of time. Generally, they look for you to be living in the city for 1 to 3 years. Many cities also disqualify anyone with a felony conviction or bribery or fraud related conviction from serving on the city council.
And if you were to have any of those things before running for City Council, are you still able to join?
You would be completely disregarded from the run. You wouldn't even be considered to have. You wouldn't even be considered or for a position on the city council.
Okay. And how does the city council better the city? What do they do in order to create a better city overall?
They usually enforce the major goals within a city, major products and infrastructure improvements ranging from community growth to land use and finance.
As of right now, relating to gun violence, what is your goal to reduce it?
We're trying to like create like more policies, as like the mayor said, to see where they came, like where the people are buying the guns, and like how to do like gun checks and stuff like that.
Why do city council members meet?
We tend to meet whenever we find an issue or a issue is brought to us by the public. So let's say, like for example, gun control issues that has been brought to our attention multiple times. So when we see these things, we meet together and we discuss the best way to fix it.
So now we'll move on to our news reporter, Marco Pulido. So, how often does city council meet?
Well, you see, Alexis, they periodically meet every 1 to 11 days, and usually every 1 to 2 hours on those days, depending on what depending on what the issues and topics they need to be there to talk about.
And where do they usually meet?
They usually meet in rooms at the Chicago City Hall.
What do they do at their meetings?
It kind of depends. According to a reliable source on the city council, www.cityclerk.com, they usually go there to discuss stuff like about the first ward. They can go there from the mayor. They can be there to address certain issues and other stuff that affects our great city.
Okay, so what are committees and what do they do?
Committees are a group of people appointed by a legislator to consider the details of proposed legislation. They're the ones who are usually laws have to pass through in order to be dictated into the city's laws.
What can people learn about the power of city council by learning about their meetings?
They can learn about how legislation and laws are seen and implemented in Chicago's past. They can have a look at how these laws have affected the city as well and have been approved by the Chicago City Council and these committees as well.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Now
Have a
we're
good
going to
day,
move
sir.
on to Jacob. So, how many people are on the city council?
There are currently 50 aldermen in the city council.
What steps does legislation go through in the city council?
Legislation can be introduced by an alderman, the mayor, a city council committee, or a citizen. In order for a citizen to propose a legislation, they must go through the city clerk's office. Once documents are fully drafted, they are assigned to the specific standing committee and relates. Standing committee then conducts hearings where proposals are introduced and considered, after which recommendations are made to the full city council. Approves of the standing committee or recommendation, the proposed legislation becomes law. The mayor also has the ability to veto the legislation, and the city council can override that veto with a 2/3 vote.
What is the role of committees in passing legislation?
Committees make meetings in which committee members debate any proposed legislations. The Chicago City Council currently has 17 committees.
What is the mayor's role in passing legislation?
Mayor is able to introduce legislation, and the mayor also has the ability to veto the proposed legislation.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. And that'll be all for our podcast today.